Anyway, with that preamble out of the way, Corvus. So what we're going to do next, folks, is we're going to start talking about some particularly interesting planes that could be made as viable premiums. I've have 4 aircraft. Let me double check that count here. Excuse me, 5 that I have selected, and Corvus has one that he's chosen. We've been talking about this back and forth for some time about which ones we're going to talk about, and we have our list. Don't worry, we've checked it twice, though we're not Santa Claus. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we're not doing Christmas in July here, folks. We are not able to fly around the world in less than 24 hours. Anyway,
Right.
anyway, so the first one, and viewers are going to see that I have this plane in my hangar selected at the moment, and there's a good reason for that because our first aircraft is, in fact, Japanese that we're going to be speaking about. The J6K1. So this would be a Tier 8 plane. I would assume you agree with that, Corvus?
Yeah, looking at the specifications, it seems to fit within and the time frame in which the plane was developed. It feels like a Tier 7, Tier 8 plane, but its specifications argue Tier 8. And one of the nice things about this plane is it could be an extension of the tech tree. So, like the B-32 was when it came out as a premium, and then it became an extension of the tech tree, the U.S. bomber tech tree. I think that's because a precedent's been set. We can talk about stuff like that. It's it's perform. I think the Japanese lines have been given kind of short shrift. They need to be fleshed out a little bit more. They have fun play style. They have interesting historical planes. Uh, but this one, yeah, this one feels, especially the armament. I mean, one of the loadouts is a 6 20 millimeter cannons,
And
and
I
that
do have the name of
yeah.
those, the type, the specific type. Now, I'm just going to give this a reference to my viewers here. So the A7M here, this is a tier 7, has 20 millimeter Type 99 2 Model 5s. By comparison, the armament that I was able to dig up that was proposed for the J6K1 are six, or the one loadout with these is 6 20 millimeter 18 Shi 1 Gata cannons. So
Mhm.
totally different gun type. Well, at least gun model, not gun type, but gun model. But still, so that's one of them. The other one was, what was it? Let me take a quick gander here. So that was one. The other one actually had these same guns that the A7M uses, but 4 of them, along with two 13 millimeter Type 3 heavy machine guns. And
Mhm.
then the third proposal was two 30 millimeter Type 5 cannons, and then the two 13 millimeter Type 3 heavy machine guns. If I'm not mistaken, no, that is not the same. Okay, so the KI 84 does not pack the same 30 millimeter cannons that this would, but nevertheless.
Right. It'd be it'd be kind of similar considering the KI-84 also wears a 220 millimeter cannon in addition to the 230 millimeter cannon. So it's a it's a rough it's a rough comparison. Two different gun types, two different ballistics for the. Uh, I don't know that that's as desirable as all one type of gun, so that you've got so it makes your aiming solution a little easier. Um, but for the more experienced pilot, it might be more interesting to have a mixed gun loadout. So there's an argument. There's an argument there.
And to be fair, the only reason we're even bringing up the 620mm loadout is because Wargaming did set a precedent. The XP67's in the game. That thing has 6 auto cannons on it. I think they're... What caliber are they? I don't think they're 20mm.
Oh gosh. Now you're putting me on the spot because I don't remember. And I thought there were 8 of them. 8, but smaller.
It's
now you're
either
gonna make
8 smaller ones or 6. I can't remember off the top of my head because I don't have the plane, unfortunately.
Well, I do, and I'm going to scroll over and light it up so that we can look at it, because now you've piqued my interest. Where is it here? Oh, you're killing me. Wargaming is killing me.
Not literally, I hope.
No, it's all the way out. It's all the way over here. So they're the T-17 cannon that end up to be 60 caliber, and there's 8 of them. So it's like a super heavy machine gun, or it's well, I can't remember what that works out to be. It's like 16mm or 15mm cannon. And of course, we all know that the damage on those guys is just absolutely wicked.
Because it's got so many of them, mainly.
Right. And so, there's other planes in the game at Tier 8 that have a fairly stout armament loadout. The XF-15C is got 4 20mm cannons that are pretty stout. The Pogo has 4 20mm cannon, so it's not like it's unprecedented for there to be a significant throw weight to a particular plane. And if you balance that out with the fact that it's Japanese and probably going to be a little more delicate than your average light fighter, then you can now load it up with really stout guns.
Well, even still, the fact that a light fighter has 8 guns at Tier 8, and they're 15mm, basically goes, okay, well, what's wrong with 6 20mm? It's 2 less than the smaller gun, so...
Right.
Anyway.
And they're wing mounted, so... were they? Were they 2?
Yeah, they were. They
4
were.
wing and...
The 6 20mm configuration was all wing mounted. I am not sure about where the 30mm guns would have been placed, but I know for a fact that the machine guns in the configurations they were in were basically in the wing roots.
Gotcha.
Or at least that might be where the 30mm were, so I can't remember off the top of my head which.
Well, all right.
At any rate, so as for a simile for the J6K1, I'm going to say it'd be a combination between an A7M and the KI-94-2. It'd be faster than the KI-94-2, or on average, with maybe a higher max speed. That would be up for debate. But in trade for that higher average speed, possibly even a slightly stronger boost, up to the devs, but in trade of that, slightly less turn speed. So it'd be not as turny of a Japanese fighter, but still able to keep up with most, I'd say.
Right. Get it in there so that that it can maybe play around with the energy fighters. So it's not consigned to hang around down at low altitude, stooging around with the yaks.
And then whenever an ME-262 or whatever comes down on it, it's not quite so relegated to just having to try to shoot at it as it flies away and then having to turn back and just stay where it is.
Right, right. So you're not stuck defending an airbase, for example.
Exactly.
You can actually use it as a, hey, I'm going to go and cap with this thing. Yeah. So there's some ways to balance it out so that it's not a one-trick pony. You know,
exactly.
Everybody loves a Yak 15. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It go and spin to win at an airbase. Oh boy, that's great. But man, go and try to do something else with it other than that. And yeah, welcome to the struggle bus. Really.
Absolutely. Now, I'll give a caveat to the A7M as a simile. It needs to be a speed build A7M, and that's exactly what I have right here. As
Gotcha.
I will be showing my audience here. It's got a polished skin. It's got Engine Guru 1 and 2. It's not all the way a speed fighter, because, well, if I put an upright engine in this thing, the plane would become even more of a matchstick, and I wouldn't want that. I don't
Right.
want to be flying a matchstick box that has a tendency to just burst into flames. I don't think anybody wants that. So, with that said, let us give this a spin and kind of try to describe how this might differ, or how the J6K might differ from this. And of course, to viewers at home, I'm going to be flying simile planes, or what I think might be simile planes, to the premium planes that I'm talking about, to kind of, differentiate my play. And not only that, but, not just fly any just random aircraft while we're yapping about this. I'm trying to make this interesting.
Right, I'm the one that's flying the random aircraft. So, because everyone knows that I can't walk and chew gum at the same time, it's hard for me to talk and fly at the same time unless I'm flying something that's easy to fly. If I have to think about it too much, I can't talk. So, my choices will be the ones that I find easier to fly.
Absolutely. You're more than fine to do that.
And we're still going to try to win, but it's this particular video is more about the discussion of premium planes and less about going out and showing our elite flying skills.
Exactly. It's not about what you see on the screen. It's more about what you're hearing.
Yep. So the Japanese line, and this is why I'm kind of excited about the Betty. I'm not a great big bomber guy. I'm not a giant fan of bomber. I do some bombering stuff, but I'm not it's not my favorite airplane type.
You're entering the combat zone.
And
get ready for battle. Good luck.
I'm looking forward to the Betty because I want new Japanese content, new Japanese plane content in the game. I'd love to have, and that's why the J6K1 is an exciting possibility. Tier 8, so it makes good silver and good experience, good trainer for your pilots. Mixes it up in a tier that, let's face it, is not as light fighter friendly as maybe some of the lower tiers.
You're approaching the front line.
But still, still a good tier to have a strong plane.
Absolutely. And sometimes I will admit, sometimes I do the same thing as Corvus, only the opposite way. Sometimes I'm flying so much that I can't think about what I'm saying. But, yes, the last time we got a Japanese aircraft was when the Japanese heavy fighters came around, and that wasn't very recently.
No. And I was super excited about that because I'm a heavy fighter guy, more than a light fighter guy. And so, that's one of the reasons I like the K6, by the way, is because it's got heavy fighter guns in a light fighter. It's pretty awesome. In any case, the Japanese heavy fighters turned out to be great. I mean, it turned out to be a great situation because they, especially the Tier 5 and the Tier 6 heavy fighters for Japan, are excellent aircraft.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Those things basically turned the meta at that tier on its head for a while, and then the XB-54 came along.
Right. And to be fair, the KI-102 is still really stout as far as airplanes go. You can go and continue to play the XP-54 if you want, but man, you'll get owned by the 102 if the guy knows what the other guy knows what he's doing.
Absolutely, you're right. Yeah, I tried to be sneaky in that military base, and nope, that XP-72 was not going to have it.
Not gonna have it.
Not have it. Not having it. What, was that some weird wording or something?
Yeah, that's right. No, it's I do enjoy a good turn of phrase. I'm enjoying that. I'm gonna go over to this mining plant over here and see if I can't disrupt whatever they've got going on. It's a nice thing about the K6 is that when you do the Super Cruise thing, it gets up over 700 kilometers per hour, and it gets around the map pretty good. I think this guy's gonna be lost, but this particular this particular cap is gonna be lost due to the yep, I knew it. It was just too close, and there's just too many reds here. All right, what are we doing? Not even I know. I've got the human tiger cat over here. What do you got going over where you're at?
I had some. Oh boy.
Our military base is launching strikes on the enemy.
Oh, I'm almost dead here. One straight bullet, I'm pretty much gone.
All right. Well.
Up there I went.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the one shortcoming of the A7M, especially if you don't have it built for durability. It is not that reinforced.
I got zapped by a TA-152 from distance.
Yeah, I saw that in the feed.
It's sad. I'm disappointed by what happened to the TA-152. It means that now the only ones that actually can run it are bots, or they're super pilots. Super pilots actually do pretty good in it too. I'm not one of those guys, so but that's an aside. I do remember that one of the planes we want to look at today has a TA-152 as potentially as a simile. So it's worth discussing. Huh. Well, our guys sure aren't defending the mining plants like they could be. Okay. Now we need to do something here.
All military bases are under our control.
All right.
Okay, well that works. Yeah, like I said, this A7M's not the toughest thing in the world. Now, the J6K would probably be noticeably more rugged, but not a ton more. probably more roughly like the KI-94 too, but I digress.
It's it'd be nice to maybe have a Japanese plane that's, you know, the late war planes. They did start doing things to the late war planes to make them a little more rugged than the early war planes, and so it might be nice to have that more ruggedness, but not necessarily make it to the ruggedness of, let's say, the American planes of that particular era.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The American planes were just a lot better quality than the Japanese ever could be.
All right, there we go. We got 10 seconds till squall line. By the way, I like to point that out because sometimes you get in the heat of battle, you forget what you're doing.
The military base has been captured by the enemy. Shape up, pilots.
And it's always good to tell your flight mate that
We're losing the battle.
that a squall line is up. All right, what do we got? Uh-oh. I'm having a little bit of trouble because I find myself in a pile of multi-rolls. Of course, the bots get all crazy after squall line and start attacking. Instead of the multi-rolls, instead of attacking ground targets, they leave ground targets completely alone almost and start going after aircraft, which is weird, you know, interesting behavior. Oh, thank you for the help.
I managed to scream in just in time.
We might pull this one out.
And that's the advantage of a speed build A7M. If I were in a turn build, I probably wouldn't have been able to get away with that.
Right. Because you're halfway across the map, and what are you gonna do? I'm hung out to dry. Well, I hung myself out to dry. That's
just kind of wandered in the wrong place. That will happen.
Yep.
Not
why
all
am I
who
over by the
wander are
spawn?
lost.
Oh, I was lost.
Oh. And wow, we pulled that wind right out of our hair, or hat.
That's right. Well,
a hair hat, I guess, but yeah, there's a picture for you. A hair hat. A hat made out of hair.
I don't like it. I don't like it. So yeah, the J6K1 could fit in there as a similar type of playstyle. Maybe a bit more speedy, maybe a bit less turny, really powerful guns.
Punchy. Yeah, quite a bit punchier than an A7M at least, especially with a 620mm loadout. But
right.
yeah, there are options there.
Think about maybe the KI-84 and how hard it hits at tier 7, and think about that, because you can take a KI-84 and you can go out and you can blow up tier 7 ground attack aircraft easily with that gun loadout. I've done it plenty of times. Just go along and just zap ME-265s, just no problem with that twin 30s and twin 20s.
Absolutely. So
you take it out, take out that J6K1, and hey, make it feel something like, I don't know, the J7W1 as far as guns go.
Oh yeah,
right? I mean,
absolutely.
So yeah, having a high-powered gun loadout on a Japanese plane is not unprecedented, because the Shinden is pretty stout, but it's slow, which it limits, and it's fragile. It's slow and fragile, which limits its utility at tier 8.
Absolutely. So for the viewers here, in terms of equipment for the J6K1, before we close on it, I'd say a cockpit slot, an airframe slot, and unlike the current Tier 8 Japanese fighters, except for the J8M, I don't know what the J8M's equipment slots are, but I'd say one airframe slot, two engine slots, and a gun slot. Sounds simple enough, right?
Seems reasonable. Let me go over to my J8M and look. It has two engine slots. The J8M has two engine slots.
Okay, so it'd be basically just like the J8M.
Right.
Okay, so that works.